right now. All right. What's up, everybody? On today's episode of the hashtag Blackout podcast, we talk about rich Wigga, poor Wigga. And also trifling Wigga, Dr. Umar Johnson at the airport or at the mall trying to holler at a chick who's not his race. All this and more on today's episode of the hashtag Blackout podcast. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
All right. What's up? What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back and welcome back again for episode 222. 222. Triple two of the hashtag Blackout podcast. I am Jared.
What up, people? I'm Jay.
And we're backing at it again and again and again and again. 3 twos in a row. 222. Man, it's too bad this wasn't on 2222, then it really would have been something. But
True.
Yeah. Anyway, man, how was your week, man?
It was cool, man. Nothing much. Nothing interesting going on here. Just another week in this wonderful Texas weather, unpredictable weather.
Yeah, Texas,
you know?
Yeah.
It's hot one day. It's super windy the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's hot and windy. Then it's muggy. Then it starts raining cats and dogs. And hey, you've been
Texas.
Here. You've been here. So.
You never know, man. You never know. You could be. I remember somebody. Told me once or made a comment once when we still lived there. Was like, you know what? In Texas, you can have every change of clothes in your car and change into it. Change into it during the week, or maybe even multiple times a day during the week, between hot, cold, rainy, whatever.
Very true.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
Yeah, I can remember some days in the past I used to go to work, my big old coat on, then afternoon time, getting off, I'd want to take my work shirt off, my button-up shirt off, and just walk outside in a t-shirt, man.
It's just so hot. Huh?
Just that crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
That's wild. That is wild, man. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, here, so Memorial Day was the beginning of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, Memorial Day, it was like 40-some degrees and like rainy, like drizzling rain.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the weirdest thing, man. I was like, hold on a second, Memorial Day is supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be warm or whatever. It's supposed to be outside, like barbecuing, like doing like lawn, like yard darts and horseshoes and stuff like that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be outside. But we were mostly inside, even though I did barbecue that day. It was cold, and I was like, what the heck is happening? And then, of course, 2 days later, it was like beautiful. It was like 70-some degrees,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And then a couple days before Memorial Day, it was also like in the 60s or 70s, so 80s, something like that. So yeah, man, it's just wild. It's just random. But people here were just like, you know what? Normally it gets cold like around Memorial Day, and it's always, I don't know. I guess I just block it out every year because I'm expecting it to be nice and warm,
Yeah.
but not hot, not like blistering hot, but
whatever.
But yeah, man. Well, cool. Yeah, man. This week here was actually sort of wild because, in a good way, I guess, because obviously we had Memorial Day, we had all that go down. I told you about that new grill company that that I'm partnered up with Hooks Rubs. So that ended up I actually cooked on the grill a few times now. I think it's amazing. It's a pellet grill, and me being like a wood fire charcoal enthusiast, it's very different for me. Like it was something that I was just like, I don't know. I have one pellet grill before that another company sent me that I really literally only do like chicken and burgers on, just because I want to do something fast, right? If I want to do something fast, and I could just turn it on, turn it off. But there was like a lack of quality overall. It was a good heavy unit, but the craftsmanship was not to every detail. So this unit that I got is much better. It's heavier. build quality is better, and it actually has some, I guess, Wi-Fi capability with an app. So it's pretty dope. So yeah, man.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. It's slowly trying to turn me into a pellet grill guy compared to being just a regular, like stick burner. But I like multiple options. So
yeah, it ain't bad. It's not
good.
bad.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll tell you this too. Honestly, it'll be a lot easier for me to transport this grill to any event that I do to barbecue compared to any other grill. It weighs a lot less than my biggest grill that I had before that, so that I still have. Yeah, it'll be nice to be able to take that to places. Actually, I'm gonna take it to my first event coming up this weekend, which is an Ace Hardware having a anniversary. So I'm gonna be throwing down some ribs and some chicken. So should be fun.
Ribs and chicken.
Yes, indeed. The chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this was last week of school for the kids here.
Nice.
My daughter graduated from 6th grade.
Oh snap!
But they didn't have like a 6th grade graduation. Like I don't know why they didn't have one at the school, but some parents basically invited every 6th grader to a park to do like a we call it like a 6th grade what's it called? It was like a 6th grade like bash, like end of year bash. So they had music and food and a snow cone truck. So it was cool. It was fine. Cool. She got to hang out with her little friend. It was fine. And
cool.
And yeah, it was good. And before that, I was invited by this thermometer company to go to a private event for the anniversary of one of their products. It's called Thermopin. And it's like this barbecue thermometer I use all the time. And it's super intuitive, super fast, all this stuff. So and it's good for a lot of applications.
I had one of those.
You had one? Do you not have one anymore?
I accidentally left it outside and it rained and it didn't do much good. And I don't have it anymore, so I can't.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna tell you this. They stand by their products. If you leave it in the grill, if you leave it in the rain, it gets too full, you could return it to them and they'll either repair it or replace it.
Well, dang. Okay. Well, I guess I'll know for next time.
Yeah. We'll have to find a way to get you one of them, another one of their products. But yeah, man, they invited me to come to this event. And let me just tell you, they had, first of all, when you look at TV and you see like these cooks on there, these chefs on there, and they're like world-renowned, world-famous chefs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those people were either in the audience or teaching us. Like it was insane. That's Michelin, nice. Like multiple Michelin star chef, multiple James Beard Award winner chef, which those are, two of the highest honors you could get as, in the food industry. Barbecue competitor named Tuffy Stone, who was on Barbecue Pitmasters, that old TV show years ago. And he's won multiple championships teaching us how to do brisket. We learned how to make ice cream. We learned how to make pizzas from a world-renowned pizza maker. Like it was insane.
Was it anything that you didn't know? Like did they?
Yeah. A lot. And it's interesting because the barbecue guy teaching us brisket, he taught us some competition stuff as well as like stuff to do in your backyard at home. But the techniques that he used, you could tell the difference in what you make at home compared to what this guy would make either for competition or just for recreation at home. And we got to eat all the food. And so the first time I had to do brisket, I was like, man, this is better than anything I've ever had, and everything I've ever made. Like not even close. But he sort of taught us the process. He didn't give away all his secrets, but he taught us, he taught us basically the process of how to do it. And it was amazing because this is somebody that you see on TV or you watch on YouTube. People have millions of followers and stuff like that. And they were like, I literally had, like conversations with them about stuff. Like it was wild.
That's cool.
And this one lady named Rose Levy. Sorry. She she wrote like the quintessential cake book called the Cake Bible 60 years ago. It's still popular, still in publication today.
Okay.
And I told my sister about it, and my sister, you know, she has her own cupcake dessert company, and she was so jealous. So I ended up getting a book and having the lady sign it.
Oh,
and I
nice.
told her about my sister's company, and she thought it was, you know, she thought it was amazing. So she's like, yeah, have your sister reach out to me and say hello. And it's super nice because it's like an old lady, you know, older woman, older white lady. She's from like Jersey or something like that. And she, you know, is lauded as like she's like Martha Stewart level. But but she's not like that type of person where she's like, I'm gonna go on TV and do all this stuff like Martha Stewart did. You know, she's just like,
she's not going to jail.
Grinding. Exactly, not that either. But she was so nice, and it is interesting when you meet some of these people, like meeting some of your idols, right? Sometimes that meeting doesn't go the way that you think it's going to go. Right?
Oh yeah.
And it turns out to be like, dang, they're sort of whack, you know. But all these people were super nice, you know, super gracious, and you know, they were open to talk about everything. So it was really dope, man. It was a great experience. They sent me home with you know, a couple of small products, you know, to commemorate the day, and it was good, man. I had a good time. And then of course I spent a little extra money while I was there too, which is probably, I mean, it's good for them because they're like, hey, we're making back this money that we're giving you away. But it was an amazing time, man. That ended my week. That was Friday. I worked like the first couple hours of the day, and then I jetted off to that. And it was great. And the even better part was several of my friends who are my barbecue buddies that I know locally are also partnered with that company. So, you know, a handful of them were there. And, you know, so it's cool to sort of do that with some friends. So it was
That's
nice,
cool.
man.
That's cool.
It's
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah. But that was good. And my wife and son headed out yesterday to go to Southern Utah to a Utah Jazz basketball camp. My son.
Nice.
So they're off at that. And so hopefully they, you know, hopefully my son does well and he enjoys it. You know, get to learn from the pros. So be good.
That's dope, man.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, I mentioned it before we got online, or before we started, recording. Took my son and his good friend to see Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. Yeah, I didn't mention that. I guess that was the highlight of the week.
Well, what about Doctor Strange? Was it a good movie? I haven't seen it yet.
I thought it was good. It was directed by Sam Raimi, and if people don't know, he directed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's movies, and previously before that, he was the one responsible for the Evil Dead series with Bruce Campbell, whose Bruce Campbell was in the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
And he's also in this one too. So there's a lot of callbacks to like those Evil Dead movies, if anybody could even catch them, if they are fans of them. So I thought that was kind of like the highlight for me, because it made me chuckle a little bit in the movie theater. My kids didn't. My son and his friend didn't know what was going on, but I knew what was going on. So that was pretty fun. That's cool. It was cool, man. I'd recommend it to anybody. I thought it was good.
Was it scary? I know you mentioned it might be like a horror movie almost.
So it was before it was released. It was being, you know, kind of stated that this could possibly be in the horror movie realm of things. So yeah, I mean, of course, me growing up in the 80s, I'm used to horror movies.
Yeah.
So I would say this was kind of teeter-tottering on a maybe like today's kid horror movie. Yeah, it's kind of, because they left the theater, they were kind of like freaked out a little bit. They were like, oh man, I'm gonna be so traumatized by seeing some of this stuff. So yeah, they thought it was, but it was a great movie. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say Scarlet Witch. Yeah, you've seen the trailer. So Scarlet Witch is in there. She does some crazy there's some craziness going on with her. Doctor Strange, there's some craziness going on with him. And have you seen the What If series on Disney Plus?
I haven't, man. I'm sorry. So you can spoil that for me. I don't care.
Yeah. So there's an episode on What If that involved Doctor Strange and him kind of dealing with another universe as Doctor Strange.
Okay. Yeah.
So something like that takes place in this new movie.
Okay.
And I thought it was handled pretty well. I'm trying to make this correlation like between all these movies, like the Eternals, Shang-Chi, all the series that are going, especially Loki. I'm just trying to put them together because, you know, like the last phases that led up to Infinity War and Endgame, you know, all those are kind of linked together. So I'm trying to see what the link is between these newer films in the series to know what's going to be the end outcome of things. Yeah. So, and there's you know, X-Men or Professor X cameo, which was pretty dope.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the trailer. You saw his wheelchair in the trailer.
Yeah.
So that's cool. There was some new heroes that were in there. So yeah, man, I thought it was well worth the watch. So whenever you have time, you can go watch it, or
I'm gonna check it out
till it comes to Disney Plus. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. Probably when it comes to Disney Plus. So I have a question. So wasn't Morbius isn't that a Marvel movie too?
It's a Marvel character, but it's not in this universe.
So it's not but
it's a Sony.
They didn't. Oh, okay, so we won't see that on Disney Plus, probably, right?
Probably not. No.
That sucks. Oh well. I guess it doesn't have anything to do with this, you know, in
this phase. Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking for some reason since that's sort of like a vampire-y, like horror-ish like style, you know, I thought that maybe they were going that way with some of these next movies. But either way, yeah, I want to check it out. I heard it was really good, you know, not only from you but from, you know, several people. So I'm definitely gonna see it. I just gotta catch up, man. There's so much to catch up with. And then I saw that Miss Marvel's coming out, you know, or that came out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's coming out.
Oh wait, let's see. Yeah, it's coming out soon. So you know, and then Moon Knight. Haven't even had a chance to watch any of that yet. Yeah. But I want to watch it because I think that character is pretty cool. I read a few of the comics. You know, so yeah, man, I'll check it out. And I remember the Doctor Strange is a scary one, but I had to watch it in a room in a room like where it's just dark, you know, to get the full effect. Yeah, at least close to the theater effect as possible. So that's cool, man. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. Was it weird? Like, I know how many times have you been back in the theater now since
probably 3. Yeah, probably 3.
Is it
still weird this year? It's still weird. I still wear my mask up in there. You know, I always get weary when I hear somebody coughing in the theater. I'm like, oh, hell, here we go again. Yeah, and then, you know, it's still kind of strange. I still, even at the theater, you just going to a store or anywhere else, I'm super like. I'm a little paranoid about it because I don't know who had it or who has anything, even though it's like supposedly a lot milder now. It just resembles like allergy symptoms, which I always have. But I would be the one that would get an extreme case of it. I kind of feel it that I would be that lucky person to do that, or unlucky. Everybody in this household has had it. Yeah, and I'm over here safe.
You're over here looking at them like,
of course. I'm waiting on them hand and foot, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna get this from.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when our 2 kids had it, it was the same thing, man. We would like mask up like crazy, and like they couldn't come around anybody. They just basically had to sit in their room. Yeah. So I get it, man. Yeah, I've been back in the theater a handful, maybe 3 times as well this year. You know, and But since the beginning of the pandemic, I think we've probably been like 5 times. But the previous times we've been wearing masks. The last couple of times we didn't mask up. But I think we went at times where it wasn't like super busy or movies that had been there for a couple of weeks. So it wasn't like the opening weekend. But you know, I mean, I don't know, man. My mom had COVID last week, and like it seems like she's over it now. You know, I think she had it, you know, carrying over from the previous week, and it seemed like she only had like, you know, like maybe 3 days that, you know, like I guess it was medium, you know, medium to mild, more medium than mild case of it. But yeah, she seemed to be fine now. She actually was just at your mom and dad's house this weekend after she, you know, she had been recovered at this point. She'd already tested that, you know, she was negative. So she went out because, you know, a family member passed out there. So she went.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's wild. But yeah, it's, you know, slowly but surely, you know, we'll all slowly get back to some kind of normalcy when it comes to that. Oh, speaking of the theater, I forgot to mention this as far as like, you know, moments of the week. My daughter, and maybe I can mention this as a proud moment of the week. We could just talk about that.
Go for it.
Was my daughter, you know, this is her first year in competition dance, you know, where they like, you know, they practice, you know, 8+ hours a week. You know, they go to these dance competitions, you know, travel around to these dance competitions, but just locally, not nationally. And you know, their dance team did really well. And so this week was their, it was like their little banquet, their little gala, you know, where they give them awards and honor them and stuff like that. So, yeah, so she got the Life of the Party award.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for always
She's
being
always turned
fun
up
and excited, yet always being crunk and turned up. So she was happy about that. And yeah, it was good though. It was weird though, because like, you know, you go to this event and there's all these, you know, kids who are like dancers up in there, and then there's parents. So like when I went, you know, we went, I was like, okay, I was like, where are we gonna sit, Savannah? So we go up to the table, and it's like just her dancer, like just the dancers on the team. It's like all these tables were just set up with just dancers, and so they had parents, you know, could just sit wherever else at any of the open tables. So, excuse me. So I brought her, you know, my wife didn't come, so I brought her, and yeah, man, it was awkward because I didn't know any other parents at all. I didn't really know the teachers. Like I met the teachers and talked to them a little bit, but you know, the instructors. But the only other person I sort of had a, you know, a little bit knew was like the lady who works at the front desk that we pay every month. Right. You know, that's about it. So I sat down next to this one, you know, lady in the group of parents at the table, and it turns out that she was like best friends with my former neighbor at the house we moved from before we moved here for COVID. So I guess they lived a couple streets away from us and we didn't know it, but it was interesting, you know, having a conversation. It was, you know, just a small world out here, man. But yeah, overall though, great experience, you know, cool to see her get up there and, you know, be all smiles, and she got all dressed up to the nines and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's cool.
So that was a good proud moment of the week. So
cool. Proud moment for me. Okay, well, got accolades from a coworker. I guess she's like a director of something or another, director of whatever she does. And it just came out the blue. It was like, just like to send accolades and kudos and going above and beyond to this, to me, you know. So wasn't that crazy? Wasn't that proud? I guess it was a proud moment. I mean, it was unexpected. Kind of gave me a little smile. I was like, oh, thank you. So yeah, cool for me. Yay.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes,
so hopefully I get to keep my job. You know, it's great because we had to go into work Thursday because our new boss of everything, not the CEO, but I guess one person down from the CEO came, and they were, you know, and I was chit-chatting with some new folks like right before the meeting. Yeah, right before the meeting, and like, oh, you know, every time they had this, they'd call people in just to let them know they're gonna get fired.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, well,
yeah.
thanks. I'm like,
Yeah,
thank you for letting
it's
me
like
know
Office Space when the new company buys the people, buys the company and they bring people in. Oh man,
yeah. So it wasn't like that just yet. So it wasn't like that. He was like, well, the last thing we're gonna do is let people go. You know, there'll be layoffs, which would be the last resort. But yeah. You never know. Yeah, it's good to hear that now.
That's like a vote of confidence, though. Sometimes it's like when somebody, like in sports, when the owner gives somebody a vote of confidence, that just means like the next thing you hear from them that they fired the coach, or they fired the coach at the end of the year, something like that. So,
yeah, and then of course at the end of the day, Thursday, one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, did you get that company-wide email that just came through?" I was like, "Oh crap, no." He's like, "Okay, me neither. So just checking." I'm like, I got kind of scared right there because I'm like, did they already pull me off the email list?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but
you're like, did I want to get that email or did I not want to get that email?
That's true. That is true. I'm like looking in my email, trying to refresh everything. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't get anything.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's cool, man. That's cool. Congratulations. Congratulations on that. Well, wow. Well, that's cool, man. It's good. Some good proud moments of the week. I know there were some other sad moments of the week with some other, mass shootings, but we're not going to get into that this week. We're just going to keep it light and happy. And speaking of light, you mentioned last week.
Great segue. That's a great segue.
You mentioned last week that on this one episode of the Atlanta series on FX, and we definitely gonna have some spoilers on this one. But this next to last episode on Atlanta on FX called "Rich Wigga, Poor Wigga," about a mixed kid.
Right.
But he looked white, so he light. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And it seemed like he identified more with the whites than the blacks. So go ahead and talk about that episode.
Well,
I'm glad that transition worked.
That was wild. That was a great transition. Great segue. No, but he is a mixed kid in real life and on the show. And I thought it's funny the way you said he identified more with white because he was with his dad, who was black the whole time. His dad dropped him to school, the whole nine. And they never really talked about the mom. I don't recall. Of course, I'm trying to go back in my memory bank from like a few weeks ago. But yeah, they didn't talk about the mom. But this whole episode was shot in black and white, so grayscale throughout the whole episode. So it really showed that this guy he looked white passing, So and the guy's name is Aaron, just so you know, and it starts out pretty weird, and we can kind of identify with this because they got in heated arguments over a video game, and then just racial slurs just started coming out. It's like, oh, we've experienced that before on Halo way back in the day, So I thought that was pretty interesting at the beginning, and then of course it starred Kevin Samuels, who became a guest speaker and then also turned out being
that's who that was. Okay.
Yeah. So he became like the owner of the school.
All right.
So the name of the school was initially Robert E. Lee High School, but he changed it to Robert S. Lee after his name. So there's this whole racial divide kind of going. You can kind of see it going on. And let me see if I could go. Excuse me, people, because I'm trying to go back in my memory bank to see
George Wallace
to go through this. So you can kind of see where the identifying with the black part of you and the white part of you came in just by the car ride with the son and father when it was announced over the radio that another black kid died by police, police gunfire. And the kid Aaron was like, well, I mean, all he had to do was put his hands up, which is probably a common statement that most white Americans,
statement you could say to that.
Yeah, most white Americans would say when one of these incidences happens in real life in our world is why didn't you just put your hands up? So that's what he was identifying with. That's what his thoughts were the whole time of this particular situation on net. Then, of course, he gets to school, and there is talks about scholarships and going to college. He's a senior, and his girlfriend, she's going to college. She's white. She gets accepted. The friends get accepted, but then he doesn't get accepted into college. So now he has to get financial aid and all this other stuff, but his dad would have to go in and fill out for it. And apparently he doesn't want his dad to go in because
no, he wanted his dad to do it.
He wanted.
His dad didn't. His dad was like, I'm not gonna fill out no forms. I'm
right.
not gonna co-sign on anything for you.
The FAFSA stuff. So so now that puts him in a predicament. Then enters Kevin Samuels, who's now the man who is going to pay every senior's college tuition, but only to black students, or those who, I guess we've come to find out, identify as black, who could pass for black by proving their blackness after answering a series of questions in a auditorium. So Aaron goes in there. And apparently he's not black enough. He cannot pass the black black questions. Because the first question, he is too light-skinned.
Yeah, the first question was, that boy that, what happened to that boy? What happened to that boy up in, wherever, what happened to that boy up in Atlanta, wherever. And he was like, yeah, I heard he got shot, by, a policeman, he was unarmed, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, the answer was he's like, the answer should have been, what happened to that boy up in Atlanta? That should have been the answer. And so when and then the next question was like, name 5 things that mix with Hennessy.
And he just started rattling off of random stuff.
It was good though, because the first one I was like, all right, he about to get this. He's like, Coke. Then they're like, okay, yeah. And then he's like, rum. And they're like, huh? Oh, I mean, I guess rum would work. Yeah. And he's like, mango, coconut. Like you just guessing now. So it's wild, man, because it's interesting because like you said, they continue to ask him questions, and it was like some of them he got right, some of them got wrong. Then they even showed maybe they asked him to dance or something like that. Yeah, and he was doing like some soft shoe routine. I was like, this is not going well.
Yeah, not at all. But and even right before that, you can see like a whole bunch of kids who weren't really black, but they were all trying to go in to audition for this college tuition, which was funny. The blackness, the kids,
the Indian kids or whatever who were singing. And if I ever fall in love with you, that was funny, man. That was funny. That tripped me out. That was hilarious.
So let me see. Let me rewind back in time. I was gonna say another thing. So it's always this talk about black football players getting with the white chick in college. So Aaron finds I think it's a text on his girlfriend's phone from one of the black football players, I guess at the high school or maybe at the college that she
was at the college. Is it the college?
At the college.
It's like yeah.
So she's about to go there. So
it's like I can't wait to hang out with you or something like that.
Spend more time with you or something like that. So he gets disturbed by it because he already knows where this is going. You know, so he decides to put together a flamethrower, which is what he used in the video game that he was playing in the beginning of the episode. I guess you know, that he loves using in this particular game, which I think is Call of Duty, probably. Something reminiscent of that. So he goes to school, rigs up this little flamethrower that he made at home. There he encounters a kid from Nigeria who also had a flamethrower. Did he have a flamethrower?
Yeah, he had a flamethrower too. He had like an actual flamethrower.
Yeah, he had an actual flamethrower. And he didn't get accepted to the college because guess what? He wasn't black enough to American standards. He didn't identify with the blackness, the black culture of America, which I thought was pretty interesting. You know, you're black, but you're not that black. You're not that type of black
enough. You're not black
enough.
You're not
black enough. Right.
Yeah.
So they ended up going at it at the school, trying to kill each other.
It was funny though. Because he was like, because like I guess he was like, "What are you here for?" And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna burn down the school." And he's like, "What are you here for?" You know, they ask each other, and then Aaron, you know, our main character in this was like, "Well, maybe I'll burn you." And then the dude and then the black dude was like, "Was that some kind of like dark joke or something like that?" He's like, it's too late. And then so then you know, the black dude you know, got mad, or I guess got mad at him, something like that. They tried to shoot, you know, flames at each other, and they ended up chasing each other down. It was funny though, in this point, and maybe you're about to talk about this, but at this point they're chasing each other around the school, and then finally Aaron's flamethrower, you know, sort of like he's leaking gasoline on his feet, and the Nigerian dude, you know, catches up to him and like burns that. So like Aaron's shoes are on fire. So Aaron starts to run and kick his shoes off and stuff like that. He realizes that his flamethrower is falling apart. So he decides to just drop, like he takes off his shoes, evidence, drops the flamethrower in two different parts, and he's running evidence. And then you can, I guess you go to the next part.
Oh yeah, he's running. Crap. Trying to think. Let me think back.
Oh, you remember? I'll tell you.
Yeah. Like I say, it's been like a few weeks since I watched it.
So they get to this point where he's dropped all this stuff. He's running, trying to get away from the flamethrower guy.
Yeah.
And then somehow the flamethrower dude is like literally on top of the building.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you know, and he stops to turn around, and then he like he says something, and just before he does that, he gets shot. And it looked like I thought he got shot in the head.
I thought he got shot in like the shoulder.
No, he got shot in the head. But yeah, in actuality, it was the shoulder.
It was the shoulder.
But
okay.
This is what happened, though. This is exactly what happened. The black dude was, you know, the Nigerian dude was about to open up flames on the guy.
Right.
So the sequence is he's about to open up flames on the guy and shoot him. Just before that, he gets shot. And then you hear, "Put your hands up."
Yeah.
So do you see the symbolism in that?
Yes.
Black dude gets shot. The whiter looking dude puts his hands up and gets arrested. So, and then subsequently after that, you know, Kevin Samuels, the Robert S. Lee character, comes up to the school. He's like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened? Somebody tried to burn my new school down." Then he goes over to the Nigerian dude getting in the back of the ambulance because he's still alive at that point. He's just sort of in shock or whatever, and he's like, "Man, getting shot, you know, you must have really wanted that scholarship." And he's like, "Yeah, I did." He's like, "Getting shot, man, by the police, that's the blackest thing.
I got a check for you right here."
You know, he's like, "The blackest thing that you could ever do." He's like, "Don't worry about your medical bills." And then he pays off the ambulance to take him to the white hospital and not the black hospital.
Right.
And then he's like, "Yeah, here's your check." And then he didn't even walk over. He didn't even walk over and talk to this Aaron character as he's getting put into the back of the police car. And speaking of, you know, the police car, the door is cracked open. The police aren't like patting him down. They aren't like pushing him around. You know, it's almost like the same treatment where they're going to stop and get him a burger.
Right.
And then we fast forward to 1 year later. Do you remember what happened then?
So 1 year later, my man Aaron, he is I'm guessing he's working at a Circuit City.
It's like Circuit City, Best Buy. Yeah, that's one of them.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Man, shaved his head. His whole speech has changed. So now he has this what's called this African American vernacular English.
Post prison vernacular too.
Yeah. So he has this particular speech, completely different person you see, with the way he's acting, and he's trying to talk to this black chick, trying to run game on her. He gets the digits, and then his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend comes in the store, like, trying to talk to him, and he's just like brushing her off and whatever, and giving her that particular vibe. And so that's how it was. And he's like, I still think of you, or something of that fact. But it was a wild episode, man. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, I thought it was good, man. I when I was watching it, I could see exactly where all of it was going, and I was like thinking about that. I was like, dang, well, I'm thinking about yours and my kid. You know what I'm trying to say? Because they're mixed, right?
Right.
And so yeah, here's a picture of Aaron right here. If I could pull it up, when
his real name is Tyreek. What's Blackout?
Yeah, his real name is Tyreek. Yeah, that's Black. Yeah, but it's interesting because I was looking at that. I was like, dang, man, I definitely need to continue to ingrain into my kids. Don't let your white friends fool you or whatever, because that's what his dad said at some point in time in the show. It's wild, man. It's wild, but it's a good. It's interesting because I don't know, man. When I saw him do the flamethrower, I was like, that's the whitest thing somebody could do. You know what I'm trying to say? When he put the flamethrower together, he was like, how to build a flamethrower. I was like, yeah, that's the whitest thing somebody could do. Because then he turns into like, almost like a school shooter type of situation, right?
True. Very true.
And but then when seeing the Nigerian kid there, I was like, what? It's almost like the roles have completely reversed in this, this small sampling of a scenario, and what they're going to do. But it ended just the same way as, that flamethrower scene ended just the same way that any of the unfortunate school shootings have ended, where anybody who's of color will get shot without question, killed without question, or attempted to kill without question. Anyone that is white or fair skinned, it seemed like, in this case, is arrested, put in the back of the car, and they probably let him get off because he looked white, or he had a white lawyer, or maybe he claimed some kind of like mental, distress or something like that.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah.
That is right. Wow. Well, yeah, that was the episode, people. Very, very interesting. A very interesting season for Atlanta. I enjoyed the whole season. I know a lot of people had issues with it because it actually didn't it wasn't really consistent with the previous two seasons. So I thoroughly enjoyed this season, so
I started into season 3, got a few episodes in, and I was like, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow, so let me just go straight to this episode, because I could tell that the episode didn't seem like it was directly connecting to the other episodes, at least like as far as advancing the story, even though I know in the overall grand scheme of things, it does have something to do with it. I just wanted to go straight to it so I could watch it, and man, it was great. So I'm gonna go back and finish the rest of them.
Yeah, and you could see it just from this whole season perspective. It's like every other episode is similar to this, where it's not really in the storyline.
Yeah, some kind of anthology or something like that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like an offshoot. Let me just do this other episode that sort of deals with maybe identity, and I think that's the overall sense I get with this particular season, is kind of identifying and knowing yourself Yeah, knowing your worth, I
Yeah.
suppose, because in the very last episode, we could see that one of the characters has maybe not really a mental breakdown, but an issue with trying to figure out who she really is, and just completely knowing herself, and that was it for the season. So yeah. And it was like that a few times through the season. But yeah, other than that, man, it was a great season, great episode. I thought it was funny just to look at that. And then of course, like you mentioned, we both having biracial kids, how that could affect them. I already know my kids wouldn't. Well, maybe one of my youngest would probably pass. But my youngest, who looks like Aaron, would probably pass, but my oldest that looks like me, probably not.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's probably funny.
My oldest could probably more pass than my youngest. My youngest is darker, and it was, oh man, it's so funny. So it's so funny when you I'm trying to find that Ed Mcmahon thing we're going to talk about in a minute, but I can't find it. Maybe you can find it for me. But it's so funny when you talk to little kids. So my daughter was in 6th grade. I guess a lot of the 6th graders have these buddies, and so basically they like buddy up with like a kid who's like in kindergarten or 1st grade, and sort of help them throughout the year. Every now and then, they like do little activities with them and stuff like that in school. So my daughter's buddy had 2 little buddies that were in 1st grade that she sort of worked with throughout the year. And so like at the end of the year, like for some reason, I guess they got to draw a photo of each other, right? So my daughter drew a picture of the buddies, like crayons and stuff like that, and the buddies drew a picture of my daughter. And my daughter my daughter's like a light skin, she's probably like the same tone as you, right?
Is she?
So
yeah. Okay.
So she so her buddy drew her like
so funny. That's
as brown as me, right? As brown as me. And I don't know, for a lot of time, my daughter likes to wear her hair like in a big like ball bun on top of her head. So the buddy drew like a big round circle on top, and the buddy was like, "Yeah, it's like a brown snowball on top of your head." And the rest, it was cute though, because like you see, it's the mind of a 1st grader. There wasn't anything, and both of them basically drew a similar picture. It was so funny, but there wasn't anything like offensive in it, at all. It was just funny the way that they characterize her. But then again, they also don't have like a tan marker, that they could use. So they just use the closest. They're like, well, it's not white, it's not brown, but you're closest to that. So they did that. It was funny. And then of course, I don't know, there's a little bit of blonde, I think, that flakes out in my daughter's hair if it gets in the light a little bit. So one of the guys, the one kid who did like the 1st kid who did like the brown snowball had like a couple of like blonde strands coming out the side of the brown hair. Crazy. I thought it was funny, man.
That's so wild, because my son has reddish, brownish, blondish hair.
Yeah.
From time to time, and we didn't know what the heck was going on with him, because he was young and his eyes would be changing color from gray to blue to green to hazel to brown.
See, if you remember our grandfather, he had red hair. He had a little bit of red hair.
Yeah. And one of our cousins had reddish hair.
Exactly. And it's funny because like years and years ago, I found a red hair in the side of my beard, right? And I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, it's got some red hair right here." She's like, "What? No, that's." She's like, "Don't." She's like, "What did she say?" She said, "Don't fool yourself. That's turning gray." And I was like, "No, it's not gray. It's not on its way to gray. I had red hair in my family, my grandfather." So, yeah, and my daughter made a comment, just as you say that. My daughter made a comment like last week saying that her hair sometimes is red depending on I don't know how it's lit or whatever, it changes. So that's funny, man. Our kids have all kinds of hair color schemes going on in their hair.
Oh boy, yes indeed.
If you think about their grandparent or your grandparents, and then your and then your wife's grandparents, or wife's, I'm sorry. Yeah. Your parents and your wife's parents or grandparents, you know, look at their hair and their hair color, and some of that, you know, could trickle its way down somehow into our kids' hair. So
it is possible. It is possible.
Wow. But yeah, as far as that, I'm trying to think, man. I was trying to see if either of my kids would pass that test.
Right? Yeah, the blackness test. I know my youngest would pass it.
So you talking about like as far as look or as far as like
no? I'm talking about question and answer.
Okay,
to get the scholarship.
My daughter would not pass it, even though she looks closer than my son. Right. So by looks, she would probably pass it closer than my son would. I think my son would probably pass it closer to some of the question and answer. I don't think either of them would get the but as far as some, you know, a lot of the other questions they would. But then dancing wise, my daughter would pass it. My son would not. So
yeah, my youngest would pass the dance test. My youngest would pass the talk back test.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would pass it. Song test.
Yeah.
If it came to athletics, my youngest would probably pass that too, because my oldest, I don't know what's up with him, man. He runs like Naruto. I think I mentioned that before, with his hands out like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I watch him run at like karate class, and I don't know where I went wrong, man. There's nothing bad about it. It's nothing.
It's funny. They just watch. You know, you watch the anime. You know, like if you, I don't know. Just remember when you were a little kid. There was probably several things that you emulated from, you know, cartoons and stuff like that we watched. I remember there was for me for sure. So
I don't know, man. I can't
like
nah,
not really.
Nah. When I ran.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I don't know where to guide him to run.
Yeah, that's funny.
If that made sense, I don't know, man. It's
that's
weird.
Funny.
It's interesting.
Interesting
times to live in. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Wow. So that's cool. So last thing we're going to talk about real quick. So I sent you a video and I found it. I'm going to pull it up. Stop talking, woman. Okay. So here, I'm going to try to turn it up so you can hear it. Okay. Here we go.
First, you need to know that I am willing to die on this hill. So if you're going to come in the comments and disagree with me, you better fucking bring it. If you were a kid in the 80s and 90s, your parents got these envelopes in the mail from the Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes. And you could fill it out and send it in for a chance to win like $1 million. And if you won that $1 million, a guy named Ed Mcmahon would show up on your porch with a big-ass check, some balloons, and a camera crew and knock on your door and film your reaction. We all remember this, right? Wrong. It never happened. Ed Mcmahon never worked for, made commercials for, or was affiliated with the PCH in any way possible. And the internet is backing this up. You can't find footage of Ed McMahon delivering checks on the internet. It's been wiped from existence. Mm-hmm. They're saying that we're all wrong. It's something called the Mandela Effect, where this large group of people remember something incorrectly and nobody can explain why. His face was on the envelopes. There's even TV shows that reference this happening.
What? I'm one of the winners of the Publishers Clearinghouse. Ed McMahon wants to see me my way.
So what? Is the entire internet like lying to us? Did they get together with PCH and be like, hey, let's fuck with the whole world and tell them that Ed McMahon never did this? Or did he really never do it? And there was a glitch in the Matrix and we are living in a parallel universe.
Yes.
Like I could not sleep last night. My brain hurts. And I need somebody smarter than me to figure this out. All right, first.
It's funny. Is this white lady called Kelly Mano, and this is on TikTok. And in this video, you could definitely tell she's eating a Sonic blast, and she has like a black lady airbrushed on her t-shirt. So I don't know what's going on. And she has a hat on that says "What the slut." So I don't know what the heck is going on.
It's part of the Atlanta series, man.
I guess so, man. I guess so. Oh wow. So Ed McMahon, was he real or not?
Ed Ed McMahon is real.
He's a real dude.
And I'm 100%
Star Search.
positive.
Remember that?
Yes, I'm 100% positive. I seen him at Publishers Clearinghouse. I know I did. Just like this lady, I know I did.
Yeah.
So I don't. It got my mind blown. It's as she was mentioning the Mandela Effect, and I told my wife this and asked if she knew what the Mandela Effect was, and she said no. And this all, for the people out there who don't know, this kind of stemmed from back in let me see if I could find it. 2009, somebody coined it, this particular term, because a lot of people thought Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. Mm-hmm. I could have swore he was dead. He died in the 80s from what I remember, just seeing things in the late 80s, early 90s. I thought he was dead, but apparently
he died in the 90s, didn't he?
He died in 2013.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people remember this, so that he died in the 80s, and nobody can explain it, but he really died in 2013. So that's where the term Mandela Effect came from. And there's a whole bunch of different situations like that people can't explain. Mm-hmm. Just like I'm looking at an example, Star Wars. So we always thought Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father," but he didn't say that. Mm-hmm. He said, "No, I am your father." But throughout all pop culture, it's always Luke, I am your father. Yeah. So, and there are a bunch of different examples. Like, I know years ago they were talking about Shazam. Like, Shaquille O'Neal was part of this movie called Shazam, and everybody thought that he played a genie in this movie back in the 90s named Shazam, but he never did. But a lot of people thought that.
He didn't play Shazam?
No. It never happened. There's nothing on the internet that proves otherwise, but everybody thought he did.
What?
No, there's nothing.
Bruh. What? Nah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I made that mistake. Not Shaquille O'Neal. Sinbad. My bad. Sinbad.
Oh, boy. I
made the mistake. My bad, audience. My bad. I meant to say Sinbad, not Shaquille O'Neal. I was thinking.
But wait,
saw something. Oh.
What was he in though? Because I don't know.
I could have swore he was in a movie called Shazam.
Sinbad Shazam, the strange case of the movie that doesn't exist. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See what I mean? That's crazy. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it does not
Shazam
exist.
The movie. That is insane. Was he in Kazam?
I don't know. Okay, maybe Kazam, it was Kazam. Kazam.
He was in Kazam, but people thought it was Shazam.
Yeah, so people.
Wow.
Yeah, so then this whole talk of Mandela Effect goes into, as the lady said, alternate realities and simulation theories and stuff like that. So I've always been interested in this particular thing, whether we're stuck in a simulation, is there alternate universe versus alternate, just realities, multiple realities that are going on at this particular point in time. It's something that scientists are exploring. We actually have no proof, but we talk about things like deja vu, for instance. I have deja vu all the time. It's very weird. I don't know how to explain it, but that's part of this whole simulation theory, and whether we're stuck in an alternate reality and maybe have glimpses of another us in another universe that are kind of like peeking through. So it's one of those things that I like to listen to, like to hear people's physics
takes on or whatever.
Yeah, so it blows my mind every time I hear people talk about this stuff, because I'm definitely not qualified to talk about it, and I don't do enough research about it. I did not go to school for physics or quantum physics or anything like that, so I couldn't tell you anything about it. But I just thought it was like a cool something interesting to talk about when she mentioned it in that video when you sent that to me.
Yeah, it's weird because I mean, I guess this the thing. The problem is this. Like, I know I don't know anybody who won that money from Ed McMahon. I know we tried every year, right? I remember my parents sent it off every year.
But see, you said Ed McMahon. He wasn't in it.
What?
You just said Ed McMahon. Nobody.
Publisher Clearinghouse.
Yeah, but Ed McMahon wasn't part of Publishers Clearinghouse.
Bro, that's got to be wrong. That's got to be wrong. He didn't work. He didn't work for the company, but they had to have hired him to be like the face of the check deliverer.
Maybe it was somebody that looked exactly like him.
He was the so this is the thing, and this lady probably don't understand this because you could tell. So this is the thing. There are actors that are hired to be live performance actors. And what that is it's not like being on TV or the radio or a movie, anything like that. It's like there's an event that happens. There is something like this where you're like handing out a check, something like that. There's all these things that happen that you're just hired just for that day or that moment or to do that job and it's over. I was hired, and I'm not a security guard, but I was hired as a security guard for an event for Thomas the Hitman Hearns, right?
Mm-hmm.
The old boxer.
Mm-hmm.
I was hired to act as a security guard for the event. There was no harm that was going to come to this guy. There was nothing that was actually going to come. It was just a part of a showing that we were going to show up at an event, and he was going to have like this security team around him. And I was just hired for that live event. I didn't work for him. I didn't work for the event company. I was an actor that they hired through my agency. So I believe that's a situation that Ed McMahon was in this situation.
Now,
so I think that's what happened.
See, now I'm looking at Snopes, and there's a bunch of different things that kind of linked it. So there was something at the same time called American Family Publisher Sweepstakes.
Yeah.
That I guess he was connected to that.
Yeah.
But everybody thought it was Publishers Clearinghouse.
Because that's the name of the thing. Yeah.
It sounds like the exact same thing. American Family Publishers and Publishers Clearinghouse all sounds like the exact same thing. So
it's all the same, but it's almost like the title is okay. So just imagine this. So we just talked about Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is a Marvel movie.
Right.
It's a Marvel movie. So we see Benedict Cumberbatch and we think Doctor Strange. We don't think Marvel. American Family Publishers is the Marvel in this scenario, and Publishers Clearinghouse is the Doctor Strange. So Ed McMahon, we saw his face associated with Publisher Clearinghouse because he's delivering his Publisher Clearinghouse check because that's the title on the check. But American Family Publishers is the one who actually owned the whole situation. That makes sense? He was the actor hired to give a check with a certain name on it. So American Family Publishers is the one that you paid money to. And we don't, back in the day, they didn't have computers where like you could just like see your transactions happen. But if you bought them dang magazines because you thought you were gonna get that million or whatever, well, you bought them magazines. The thing that would show up on your bank statement was American Family Publishers. It was not Publishers Clearinghouse.
But why is it that this is saying they're two completely separate companies? Like they have nothing to do with each other. Kind of like what you're saying, Marvel and Doctor Strange. They're two separate things, but they're together. But this is saying that American Family Publishers is something completely different than Publishers Clearinghouse. So they're two completely different companies. But why? But that's the thing. What? I don't know. Man.
Yeah. It's just
weird, man. American, because they're saying Ed McMahon and Dick Clark both participated in American Family Publishers, but that has absolutely nothing to do with Publishers Clearinghouse. So they're two completely different companies. But why is the majority of people thinking maybe it's just the word publishers making people correlate the same thing.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. But anyway, this is like it's hurting my brain. It's hurting my brain, and it's wild that the majority of Americans think, have this particular thought process when it comes to a bunch of different things that happened in the past. We kind of, I don't know, make our own judgment and group things together, and
it's so wild, man. Because nowadays, now there's things that we can find out, specifically about, all these different types of companies. But a lot of these companies, maybe they change names, they change hands, stuff like that. So a lot of their records are different. The information about them is different than it would have been back then, because there was no digital records. There was no digital signature that you could hold on to for years and years and years. A lot of stuff was just written down, and not transferred, not translated, into the internet whenever the Internet of Things, slowly started to exist. I don't know, man. This is the thing. If Ed McMahon was never a part of that, why did he never come out and say that he wasn't a part of that?
I don't know, because now this is saying those two companies were competitors.
That wouldn't make any sense. They would have had something. They would have had to come out and say something to that effect, because how it is with your competitors. Like, I compete with like some of these barbecue seasoning companies right now, and I'm like, no, that ain't me. Like, there's no way that I would want you to mistake my product for somebody else's product, even though we're in the same lane. We're in the same lane. I don't want you to mince who it is, because we different. So they would have come out and said that.
I don't know if Ed McMahon would have came out. He probably didn't care. He's getting paid. He died a long time ago, so he probably didn't care. But it just baffles the mind, especially whenever you sent this video to me, because I hadn't thought about that in a long time, and of course this happens, and now I think about it now. So whatever. The universe will prevail.
Still caught in the Matrix. It is what it is.
We are caught in the Matrix.
Anyway, all right. Well, is that all we got? You got anything else?
No, I'm gonna go and
oh man,
gonna go and I guess read a book or something just to clear my brain, because that was a little too much.
Yeah, just don't go into a dark restroom, look in the mirror, and say Atlanta 3 times, because you do not want a booger wolf hopping out and showing up in your restroom. Anyway,
don't want those. Not at all. All right, people. Twitter, Instagram, #BlackoutPod. Find us on your favorite streaming application, on your phone, on your computer. Hook it up to your car while you're going to work. Listen to us there. Check us out Sunday mornings, possibly all the time, some of the time, most of the time, maybe. YouTube, where you can find us. Hop in on the show, give us your thoughts. Email us, #blackoutpod@gmail.com. Give us a little call, 3853-BLAKPC or 3853-252572. Would definitely love to hear you guys' y'all's take.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely love to hear y'all's take on this whole Mandela Effect, alternate universes.
Sorry.
Multiple universe. Yeah, Matrix. Whatever. Let us know if you watched Atlanta. What did you think of that alternate universe in that particular episode with the Kevin Samuels giving away scholarships to just black students or people who passed the blackness culture test? Let us know that. And while you do that, go to hooksrub.com. Excuse me. Get yourself some Hooks Rub for your Juneteenth alternate universe celebration, where Juneteenth let me stop, because I'm gonna say something bad that's gonna get us canceled. Yeah, July 4th. Get yourself some hooks roll for your July 4th cookout, throwdown in the backyard.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
all that good
indeed.
stuff.
Get you some flavor. Daddy's Day is coming up soon, so go get some for your zaddy and your daddy.
That's true. Dang, Father's Day and Juneteenth is the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get off
cooking?
So you get a holiday for Juneteenth, right? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a national holiday. So are they giving you off Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
It's just awkward, man. It's gonna be awkward for me because I'm like the only person of color.
Bruh, I'm gonna tell you what,
in my department. So
yeah,
just hearing them in the chats like we're gonna be off to Juneteenth, and then they could be like, "What's that?"
Tick tick, that like crickets. So yeah, man, it's wild because like at work, there are two of us, two black fellas on my team. And actually at that event that I went to the other day, I was the only black person there, man. It was wild. There was like an Asian lady and I believe like Pacific Islander lady. Other than that, I was the only, person of color there, man. And it was wild, man. It was so interesting. And obviously I felt honored being in that situation, but I was like, wow. But yeah, man, for Juneteenth, so at work, I'm a part of this committee that tries to bring engagement because we are all work from home. Nobody's working in the office in my department. Mm-hmm. And so last month we did one thing for the month for engagement to try to get people moving and like stuff like that, like out of the house, you know, for a few minutes just to clear your head. And it was also like a healthy recipe or something like that we I swear we posted it every single day. And engagement was like, I don't know, it was mostly low, but I was like, dude, y'all asked for this. So we're like, you know what, every month, let's try to do something that either correlates with the month or the time of the year or whatever's happening. So this month is Pride Month and also Juneteenth and Father's Day, obviously. So we're like, you know what, once a week, we're going to drop a fact about Juneteenth. And, you know, another day during the week, we'll drop a fact about Pride Month, because I believe there's a couple of people on our team that, identify in the LGBTQ. So I dropped a Juneteenth fact, on that day. And it was just sort of like the first, I went to history.com so I could get it as historic as possible, so there wouldn't be any kind of like whatever. So I just dropped like the first like 2 paragraphs from the history page, and I'll put something else coming up. But yeah, I got like a bunch of hearts on it. And then like at the end of it, and this is through the Slack channel, right, that we're dropping these facts. So then at the end of it, I was like, tell me a fact here that you may not have known, just leave it in the thread. I'm the only one who put something in the thread because I was like, when I was a little kid, I knew this had something to do with black people, but or something to that effect. I just didn't know that the slaves were freed, 2+ years after the emancipation, or these people weren't told, because I guess other parts of the country, did link up with it. But yeah, man, it was just like it was like almost crickets. Like even the other black dude in the chat didn't even like heart it or anything. I was like, come on, bruh. It's just 2 of us. We've had these conversations before. Come on.
It's like,
But,
black fact. Did you know that black people did not choose red velvet and cheesecake for their favorite item?
Yes, that's true. That's true. It's like who came up with that? What black person did you ask about that? No one. Yeah, man. So it was wild. Absolutely, but then I can't remember the Pride Day fact because I think that was Friday and I'd left to go to the event, so I didn't look at it. So I have to go back and look and see if that got any more or less, comments or hearts or whatever. I just think it's wild, man. But it is wild, and I think there are certain people who are still uncomfortable with learning and knowing and understanding facts.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Like these are things that literally happened. Just like Ed McMahon. That was a real person.
Yeah.
This situation, there's no question though. There's no Mandela effect for this.
Oh no.
So.
Ooh, but what if there was? That would be wild.
If there was, this would be the biggest coup in history, next to the pandemic that people say it was like not real to.
Exactly.
So exactly. If that was the fact, man, I don't even know. There would be massive uprisings.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's a thing, though. They're actually trying to erase slavery from the history books. So before you know it, our kids, whatever, are gonna be like, slavery never happened. What are you talking about?
And then they'll be like Kanye, as if slavery was a choice. Like, that's not real. I choose to not believe it. That's what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
So stupid. So stupid. Oh well. All right.
Well, there you have it, people. Another episode deuce. In the multiverse of blackness.
Oh man. Drop the triple deuce.
Oh yeah, that's the name of this episode. All right,
man. On that note, I'm blacking out.
Wow.
And